I just fought off 40 ninjas in my front yard. Let's continue. Okay. So the Senshium, they are not the military leaders. They leave that up to the elites, who are physically much stronger. And in the original covenant, which was formed by the Senshium and the Sengheli, it was stated that the elites would protect the prophets. Now, the reasons for this is that there was actually a war between the elites. Did that door just open? It may have, because I heard a Marine yell, yikes. There was actually a war between the elites and the prophets. Basically what the war was over was... Good, I'm not muted. Sorry, I just wanted... I am... Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it! Anyway... There go those guys. Let my shield recharge real quick. So basically what ended up happening is that they had a squabble over Forerunner technology, and of course the Forerunners are no longer here. The prophets believed that Forerunner technology was left for them to use, and so they used it in a way that bettered their military and basically bettered their race. So they had large Forerunner ships, they incorporated shields into their ships, things like that. And they also had the Forerunner technology that you're looking at right now. I'm actually wielding Forerunner technology. Yes, all Covenant technology is repurposed Forerunner technology. Anyway, the elites believed that Forerunner technology were artifacts, and
we should get moving.
All right, everybody, stay cool. Yell if you see anything.
Hope you guys realize why I killed that Marine. Anyway, so the elites believed that Forerunner artifacts were holy, that they were not to be touched, but they were to be studied, but they were not to be used for any sort of military or use like that. So, of course you can see where the friction is. I mean, one side calling the other blasphemous and the other side defending itself, basically. And, you know, the defenders... There really is no defender or right cause here. I mean, from both sides they were right, but really in the end there was no right answer. Since the Foreigners were just another race, they were not gods as the Covenant worshipped them to be, but I'll get into that later. Which I'm promising to get into a lot of things later. One of which are coming up too soon. Okay. So, this room should actually be where we get into the hunters. Okay. Go those guys. Alright, show off the needler here. This thing's excruciatingly powerful, and again, remember it fires needles and sticks into the enemy. Okay. So, the resulting war, basically the elites lost. Despite the fact that they're physically stronger, in the air, they just could not match up to the fact that Foreigners had much better ships. Which, I mean, in a space war, I'm just gonna not move forward until I'm done talking. In a space war, ships in space are the key decider, you know. So in all ground battles, the elites won, but in all space battles, which were most of the battles, the prophets won. So they ended up coming to an agreement known as the Covenant, which basically said, okay, prophets, you study the artifacts and figure out how to make them better for us, and elites, you figure out, like, you protect us. You know, you be the militaristic rulers, and of course they've absorbed different races that they've conquered. Now that may lead to the question, why aren't humans being conquered and absorbed in? Well, it's because we actually have Forerunner technology on our planets, and so that leads the prophets, who think that we are someone powerful, to be jealous of our power and want to kill us. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. I had a good point. Gosh darn it, I hate it when I do that. And just skip ahead if you don't want to listen to all this lore. But I hope some of you find it interesting, and even if one person finds it interesting, I'm going to keep talking. You can just skip ahead. It's not all that difficult. Trust me, I do it all the time. Okay, oh yeah, okay, so what happened to the Foreigners? Well, I'm not going to get into the enemy that they had, but they had a very bad enemy. And basically what ended up happening is this enemy was created when humanity and the Foreigners went to war. Now, it wasn't just humanity who went to war with the Foreigners, it was also the prophets who went to war with the Foreigners, but at the time they were not known as prophets, they were just known as Senshium. This war, it was basically over... I actually can't remember what it's over. I'll talk about it in the next video. I'll look it up and talk about it. So yeah, what ended up happening is humanity found the way to beat this enemy of the Forerunners, but the Forerunners beat us back, destroyed us, de-evolved us to a primitive state, again. Not gonna get into that. And that was it. We're done. I mean, the farthest we ever got was back to like steam power and hot air balloons, you know, instead of like space flight and terraforming worlds, which is basically where we were at. So the Forerunners, weakened by their war with humanity, perished because of the enemy that they had, and left behind all these different rings. The Halo rings were designed to wipe out all sentient life in the galaxy, which we'll get into why anyone would want to do that later on. Alright, that is all the lore, and again, I'm sorry for dying so much. Now I'll focus on gameplay. There's that guy. Okay. We're going to be getting into hunters here again, so I want to give a little bit of talk about them. I probably shouldn't have got that health back now, by the way. It's best when there's a health pack available to wait until after the battle, just in case you take more damage. But I don't know. I've just been taking a lot of damage. I wanted to have a couple extra hits. Should be an elite in this group. Anyway, hunters. Their native name is the Lek Golo. They're actually not one creature as it looks like. I mean, they're the giant armor-covered creatures. They're actually a colony of worms, those are known as the Lek Golo. And it's not how you pronounce it. I think how you actually pronounce it is Lek Golo. But I just say Lek Golo so you guys kind of get to have the pronunciation of it. It's L-E-K-G-O-L-O. That's how you spell it. Okay. Alright. So the hunters, or the Lek Golo, were brought into the Covenant because, well, Forerunner technology was found on the planet. But here's the catch: the Lek Golo eat metal. Like they eat like the alloys that make up metal. And so, of course, since space age stuff is made of metal, the Foreigners, or the Lek Golo had dissolved the Forerunner ruins. And so, at first, the Covenant declared blasphemy and all this, you know, all of that fun stuff. But then eventually, the Covenant found that they could not beat them because the Lek Golo infested their ships, destroyed them, and honestly, they just reproduced too fast for anyone to destroy. So instead, they used the Lek Golo to their advantage. Now, how do they do so? Well, they turn them into warriors, first of all. That's just one form. Their normal form is just the worms, which they use actually for repair in tiny places. Because think about it. Having a worm that is trained to do your bidding, is intelligent, basically a sentient life form, and can get into tiny areas where microscopic damage might be done to a ship, that's pretty valuable. So yeah, that's basically what the Lek Golo are. Now I'm going to go over, and sorry there's so much lore in this, I'm trying to just get it all over with so that at the end of like, later on we can just focus on gameplay. So I'm going to kind of give an overview of how each of the races joined the Covenant. So, the Ungoi, they're always really weak, but one thing that made them exceptionally weak is that their planet is surrounded by a methane atmosphere. And of course...
Where should we go now? All the doors on this level are locked. Wait a moment. I'm going to access the Covenant BattleNet and locate an override code to open a door. Working on it.
I'd like to see you crack 120.
Okay. So, they have a methane atmosphere, which is exceptionally cold. I mean, it's a very cold atmosphere, and the Ungoi breed like rabbits. They breed so much that the only way for them to survive in their tribal system, which was basically when they were found in the Covenant, or when the Covenant found them, is for them to commit mass genocide of all the oldest people in their tribe. Alright, that's an example of sidestepping a hunter. That's the best thing for you to do, just sidestep and keep firing, or if you can, melee, like that. You want to make sure to hit the orange spots, because that's actually what the Lek Golo are. That's what the Lek Golo are exposed. Of course, in this game, it's not so well rendered. And I'm sorry for switching topics so quick. I kind of just wanted to talk about that when we have live hunters here. Okay. Believe you opened? Nope, you didn't.
Got it. The door
Now
is
you're open.
Everyone should
Okay.
move through now.
So again,
Can't
mass
guarantee that it won't lock again when it closes.
genocide by the grunts whenever they to keep their population going. There's also something that they termed the Black Death, which is basically freezing to death or frostbite. And so it was because their winters were so cold with all the methane that people just freeze to death. There just was not enough food, and these are examples of cloaked units. They're going to be stalking around. to find them, look for a strange ripple in the air like that. They'll come. They have no shields.
There's no sense going in with anything less than full strength.
Cortana to Foehammer. We need additional support troops. We're going to open the shuttle bay door again, move in, and drop off reserve troops on my signal.
I copy, Cortana. Echo 419 standing by for your signal.
Well, I kind of fell down because I didn't want to die, so I'll just retrace my steps real quick. So that's the Ungoy. The elites I already told you about. They did eventually I didn't mention this, but they did eventually use foreigner technology to save themselves. So what ended up happening is they came to a stalemate, and they kind of just agreed, okay, hey, let's work together. We both have this technology now. There's no reason for this war to continue. Alright, the Kigyar, also known as the Jackals. Their society is built heavily around piracy. Basically of each other, of other people, and that's the only way they could defend themselves against the Covenant. Whereas the Ungoy were founded in basically a tribal state, or maybe a little more advanced than that. Maybe.
Echo 419. The shuttle bay door is open. You can start your approach.
Roger. Echo 419 inbound.
So what ended up happening with the Ungoy, I'm just going to continue on this for another moment. They actually made it to the Industrial Age, but mass pollution, I mean so bad, collapsed their planets, like, everything. Like, just their environment, and basically sent them back to the tribal stage, and that's where the Covenant found them. The Kigyar made it to basically where, more advanced than us, basically like star system colonies. You know, colonizing other planets in your star system. Let's continue. Is this even the right place? Nope, I have to go across. Alright, so that's basically what the Kigyar were, and of course they just relied on piracy and raids and all those things to guard against the Covenant, which of course didn't work. They are absorbed in the Covenant as well, obviously, since we fight them. And now, who else can I talk about? There he is. Lost him for a minute. I am close to death. I don't know what happened. I think I got hit by some needlers. That was some needler ammo. Whew, that was close. Glad I'm still alive. Basically, I like to coin this area as the only thing keeping me alive is my shields. Alright.
Hold your fire. Out of the way, amigo.
You get out of the way. I'm a Spartan. Get out of my way.
Lost contact.
There, drops he. Okay. Now, there are a couple other races that are not mentioned in this game, as well as the prophets aren't mentioned. Aren't even mentioned in this game. But I want to go over two more, called the Jiralhane or Jiralhani. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. And the Engineers. I don't actually remember the Engineer's native name. I know all of them but the Engineer, weirdly enough. But basically, the Engineers are giant, bulbous, gaseous creatures that it's debated as to whether or not they're slaves of the Covenant or not, because they're very non-aggressive. So it can be taken that they were conquered because they were non-aggressive and used as slaves, or it can be taken that since they're non-aggressive, they were willing to use their talents to the betterment of the Covenant. However, there are some things that indicate that they are slaves. Like, sometimes the Covenant will use them as suicide bombers, and sometimes they'll use them just for, like, being cannon fodder, you know? But what are Engineers? Well, basically, they are gaseous. They kind of look like a creature that is basically mini balloons puffed up with several tentacles. I don't know how the heck these guys got here. Anyway. Those are Marines, by the way, that's why I said it. So yeah, like, puffed up balloons. They're purple in color. I kind of messed this up, but basically when going through sleep, which is shown by them being curled up in a ball, you can melee them and they will not wake up. Nor will their screams when you kill them wake or frighten anybody. So again, it's debated on whether or not Engineers are slaves or not. Okay, so Engineers have an amazing ability with technology, and they basically can take apart and reassemble something and make it better than it was before, you know? Okay, that guy, in my opinion, that guy is the most scary Covenant in this game. Basically, he is a gold armor, which is the second to highest armor, I believe. I think the highest is black. In this game, I know. Actually, no, I don't. Last time I did this, I got lost. And I mean, let me tell you, I was angry at myself for getting lost. Okay. So, that's basically what the engineers do. They heal. No, they don't heal. Sorry, I'm thinking about Halo Wars. They repair Covenant technology, and they basically improve Covenant technology. Also, they're very good at learning about the technical ability of a race, because, I mean, they just take apart a human, like, weapon and reassemble it, and they just instantly know, okay, this is how it works. They're primitive, they're advanced, you know, things like that. So let's hope I'm going the right way. And now the Geralhani, also known as Brutes. Their name is very aptly given. They are very thuggish, brutish creatures. They're, basically broken in